Hello, hello. Brooke Chanfiki here with Legacy, also known as hashtag Big Sis Finance on TikTok. Today, I want to take us down the path of talking about real wealth. And I want to talk about real wealth differently than I think other financial practitioners, financial experts do. It is very easy to fall into the trap and define wealth as one-dimensional, meaning wealth is a number, or wealth is made up of a few different numbers on paper, which is a bit like saying what you got as your SAT score defines you. What you have on your resume defines you in your entirety as a human. The grades you got in 12th grade define you. I think we can all agree that data about us is incredibly one-dimensional. It tells a tiny piece of your overall story, and that holds true for your financial position as well. The data around your financial position is a little tiny piece of the overall financial wellness picture that you have. You are not financially well by virtue of the fact that the data says your net worth is a minimum of $2.3 million in the United States. I'm just using that as an example. That is not the definition to me and many in my generation and younger of true wealth. So let's dissect this a little bit today. Let's go on the journey together. I think that there's a desire to boil everything down to its simplest terms. That's how we make sense of the world. But in doing so, we end up doing comparisons with others that aren't fully descriptive of our overall wellness, our overall wealth. And so one-dimensional wealth, you have succeeded in gathering as much money as you can, only says that you have the capability of figuring out how to drive dollars. But it doesn't necessarily help others determine if you have the other two dimensions of wealth. So in my world, there's three dimensions of wealth. 1D is your health wealth. 2D is your relational wealth. How well do you share space and engage with the humans around you? And the third dimension, the 3D, is, and what does your financial wellness look like? So there's really three different dimensions that we have to talk about when we're talking about true wealth for human beings. It is not as simple as saying if I hit a number in one dimension, if my resume looks a certain way in one dimension, but my health is in shambles and my relationships are absolutely terrible, that's not enough to say that you've actually achieved real wealth. As I mentioned, our generation, my generation and younger, are beginning to redefine how we approach wealth. And it isn't enough to have numbers on a page any longer. That's not, to us, real wealth. And you're going to toggle between these different dimensions throughout your life, making sure that you don't choke any one of them off at the expense of putting more effort into a different dimension. Let me give you an example. Let's pretend for a moment you have a stay-at-home spouse. And I'm saying stay-at-home spouse because it could be a man or a woman. Doesn't matter. Could be any gender identity that is your partner who is staying at home. So you have this person in your life, and that person is, I would assume, making it easier for you to focus on one of those dimensions, which is the financial, career-driven piece. Not financial wellness per se, but I go to work, I make a salary, or I build a business, I create money. That's your role in the relationship. If you don't recognize that the relational dimension, meaning how well you relate to that other person and how well you care for one another and you support each other and you treat each other respectfully and you have an incredible connection, emotional connection, if you don't focus on that at all in favor of focusing entirely on the financial dimension yourself, you're not truly living a wealthy life. I think we're starting to realize this. And I've seen this now for quite a while. And I think others are beginning to come around to the end all be all isn't getting wealthy and then realizing I did it at the expense of my relationships because I didn't treat my spouse and my family well, or my partner and my family well. I took advantage there to focus efforts in a different space, and I ended up in a less fulfilling position, even though there might have been a few more dollars in an account. And let's now take that into the health dimension. You only get one body. You get one life to do what you're going to do in terms of feeding your body and moving your body. If you neglect the first dimension, the health dimension, in order to focus your efforts into the financial dimension, you will pay for it later. And you will not have as fulfilling of a life when you decide that you now are going to take some more free time later in your life, but your body isn't working in the way you'd like it to because you neglected that dimension. So the point of this conversation is not for anyone to walk away feeling badly. We all learn as we go. And I didn't learn this when I was 10. I learned this later in life. We all learn as we go that to lead a very fulfilling life, we need to be fulfilling ourselves, and we need to really be bringing forth the gifts and the essence that we have to be helpful to others. That's how you should be living your life. You're adding value. You're putting things into the world that are valuable to others. And if you don't view success in a three-dimensional way, if you view it in a one-dimensional, I just have to get a house and I have to get some money in the bank and I have to have assets and that's it, you're actually living quite a sad and small existence. And you can change that existence. It doesn't have to be that way. Relational connection, relational wealth, which is you becoming an emotionally regulated human who's looking at and working through your emotional scars and wounds and working through how to heal the things that you've gone through in your life, that can be accomplished at any age. Health wellness or health wealth can be also reimagined at any age. I began running marathons when I was older. I began going to the gym when I was older, after I had my first child and only child. That was when I went to the gym. I hadn't gone to the gym before, really in earnest, gone to a gym before my daughter was 18 months old. I was in my mid-30s. You can engage in better patterns to create wealth in many dimensions for yourself at any point in your life. It is never too late. What is a problem is when you say the ship has sailed for me and I am stuck here. No one is a static being. Every one of us is evolving all the way up to and including the day we leave this world. You might as well continue to evolve along all three wealth dimensions. And what I've noticed in chatting with people and working with people and studying very successful people, the ones who end up achieving the greatest success in terms of their own description of fulfillment. I wanted to live a fulfilling, whole, healthy, happy life, not a one-dimensional financial success life. But yeah, I did have financial success as well because I was whole and healed and healthy. The ones who really understood success and figured out success were the ones who took care of their health. They took care of their relationships, especially the relationships very close to them. And they did something they were very passionate about that created value and ultimately created financial success for themselves. They didn't focus in on just the financial success piece. So when folks show up with me and they say, tell me the secret to getting rich, I just point now here at my head and I say that's the secret. There are no data points you can memorize or investment strategies or 50, 30, 20 budgets that you live and die by. Obviously, there's tools, and you want to learn a lot of the financial concepts so you understand the tools in your toolbox that you can use. But at the end of the day, those tools in your toolbox are worthless if you haven't figured out that life needs to be lived in 3D and you're embracing it in 3 dimension. Then you can have real wealth that isn't just defined on a piece of paper as I now am worth X or I make this level of income every year. Like, those numbers change, by the way, constantly, and no one can agree on exactly which is the right number. Every year it needs to be revised because of inflation and economic factors, etc. So why are you banging yourself into a wall saying I have to have some magical number? Don't do that to yourself. It's a different mindset that we all want to embrace in order for us in our own individual lives with our own individual paths and circumstances become comfortable and confident in our financial wellness. It starts here, and with your body, and then your relationships and how you relate to other people and how emotionally well you are. It starts there, and then it trickles into your financial wellness. You can learn any concept if you're open-minded and confident and you feel good about life and you feel good about your relationships. And by the way, the secret is it's all right inside of you. You just need to unlock it. Sometimes you have to follow behind people who've done it already because they can help you see the spaces where you haven't matured yet. You have to be humble and open-minded to see those spaces. I hope that this was helpful. My siblings, have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to chatting with you again very soon.